The first component of our snack mix is going to be some sweet and salty pecans. I've got 4 cups of raw pecans. Now, if you don't like pecans or they're too expensive, you can use other nuts. Walnuts work well, almonds work well. I've got a half a cup of brown sugar. This is a great way to use up that brown sugar at the end of the bag when it's getting a little dry, because this is all going to be melted in the pan. I've got a half a cup of butter or a stick, and then I've got some sea salt. You can also use kosher salt, but you don't want a fine grained salt. You want something that's got a little texture for finishing at the end. So we're going to toast these nuts on top of the stove, and then we'll continue on. As you can see, I've got the pecans in a very large skillet. I want plenty of room so we can get basically almost just a layer. And I'm going to go ahead and toast these for about 2-3 minutes. And as it's melting, I'm stirring the nuts in so they start getting coated with the butter, which will also help them from continuing to cook too quickly. I don't want to burn them. My brown sugar is all melted. The nuts are all coated. I am going to give them some sea salt. And this first addition of sea salt is going to get mixed in and hopefully get into all the little nooks and crannies of the nuts. You can see they're still glistening from the butter and sugar. I'm going to divide them on some paper plates. I want to give them plenty of room to cool, but also so I can get salt on all of them. And now I'm going to give them each a fairly liberal coating of the sea salt. And then I'll let them cool a bit and I'll taste them and see if they need any more. As long as you get this salt on while they're still somewhat sticky, it'll adhere. So there's step 1 towards our Chicago-inspired snack mix. The seasoning for the popcorn is based on the cereal snack mix. So I've got a tablespoon of paprika, regular paprika. Now, if you like the smoky flavor, you can do that. A tablespoon of garlic powder. A tablespoon of onion powder. A teaspoon of ground celery seed. Just about a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And then my secret ingredient here, a teaspoon of sesame seeds. They'll bring a little to the party. I'm going to go ahead and mix that all up. People ask me, where do you get your trivets? They love it because it's kind of got that Mexican flair. I went to my local tile shop. I bought some tiles. I put some nonstick furniture guards on them. And that's what I use for my trivets. So to that, I am going to add just a couple dashes of hot sauce. Again, this is more of a than a holy cow. I'm going to add a teaspoon of Worcestershire. And then I'm going to add in our spice blend that we made. I'm going to mix that all up. And because the butter's hot, it will help bloom these spices. And I'm just going to set this aside while I pop the corn. And yes, I am popping the corn. I want that truly crispy, thinking back to childhood crunch on my popcorn. Time to pop our corn. Behind me, you can see the chili simmering away. I've got my pan getting hot. I'm going to add a little bit of corn oil to the bottom of the pan. You can use regular vegetable oil as well. I wouldn't use anything like a peanut oil or an olive oil because you want the corn taste. And I'm going to put in just a half a cup of popcorn kernels. Now that doesn't look like much, but once it gets popping, it'll be a lot more. And you always want to use a bigger pan than you think you need when you're popping corn because of how much it expands. So we're just going to let that heat up and start popping. I've got my turkey roasting pan. I'm going to spray it well with non-stick cooking spray, not the baking, not the olive oil, just the traditional. And you notice I'm shaking the pan because I don't want the already popped kernels to stick to the bottom and burn. So the popcorn's just about done, and you can see how that half cup that barely covered the pan bottom has almost filled my pan. When you only get one or two popping at a time, it's probably time to turn off your heat because you're just going to have a couple of old maids at the bottom and you don't want to burn the rest. I've got the oven preheating to 250 degrees, and as the popcorn cools before you put the seasoning in, what I'm going to do is make sure that I don't leave any unpopped kernel. Pushed all the popcorn to one side, and I'm just going to gently pass it back over and pick out any unpopped kernels I may find. You notice I've let it cool. I'm not going to burn my fingers. Got a couple hiding back here. Also, while you're doing this, if you find any pieces of popcorn that look, time to add our seasoning, our butter mixture. I'm not going to add it all at once. I don't want to make the popcorn soggy. So I'm going to mix it up, and you can see it's sort of thick. And I want to pour some of that over and stir it in completely. And then this is going to go into the oven, 250 degrees. I'm going to give it about 15 minutes, and then I'm going to check it for flavor and add more of this seasoned butter as needed. 15 minutes is up. I'm going to give this a taste. Okay, it needs a little bit more of the butter mixture, and it's also going to need salt at this point. Now this pan is hot. I just took it out of the oven, so don't grab it by the handle. Let me go ahead and mix that up. And we're going to give it some salt. And we're going to mix it up and pop it back in the oven for just about 5 minutes or so. When it comes out, you obviously want it to taste garlicky, little smoky from the paprika, but you also want it to be crispy. So if it's still soggy, you may have to go back. You can serve the snack mix just as this, but I went to a party supply store and they have these cute little football boxes, and all you have to do is kind of press it open and press the bottom down, and you see the two sides are already folded. You need to crease the opposite sides just a little so they'll stand up a little more square. And you've got a cute little box that you can put your snack mix in, or if you just wanted straight up popcorn or cheese corn or whatever, you can just fill these up. They hold quite a bit. This might last them through the game, or at least first half. And one of the things I really am aiming for with my Super Bowl party is all finger foods. So instead of having chili or chili cheese dogs or something, we're going to have the little chili cheese dog cups. We're not going to have any chicken wings. We're going to have some sandwiches, different kinds, and then some sweet snacks as well. So you can see how cute that looks. And that's sweet and salty, crunchy and crispy. You might wonder, why am I calling it Chicago-inspired snack mix? Because you have the popcorn, you have the cheese from the cheese balls, and then you've got the sweet that you would normally get from the caramel corn, but it's in the pecans. So there we have it. Our sweet and salty, crispy, crunchy, buttery, everything Chicago-inspired snack mix. Time to kick off the game, I think. This is just a starting point. You can put anything in here you want. You can change up the pecans to almonds, or you could make a smoky almond to go in here. You could use pretzels. I've seen it done with the little oyster crackers that you use in soup. You can put the cereal in if you want. You can put little cheese crackers in here. It's up to you what you want to mix together. The idea is just to get something fun and tasty for the big game.